Can the director of the National Park Service administratively create a new 1-acre national park anywhere in the United States?
To the best of my knowledge, the answer is no.
Okay. Can't quite hear you. If you can be a little bit closer to the... Okay. Can the chief of the U.S. Forest Service administratively establish a new national forest?
Again, to the best of my knowledge, no.
Can the director of the Bureau of Land Management designate even 1 acre of wilderness?
No.
Can the director of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service administratively create a new unit of the Coastal Barrier Resources System?
Not my area of expertise.
Okay. Okay. Have you or has the service ever requested authority to do any of these things? To have the administrative ability to do any of the things that I've asked?
The Fish and Wildlife Service has the authority to establish national wildlife refuges administratively. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Mr. Chairman.
Well, the question is, I've asked if they have the authority, if these various services have the authority to do what the U.S. Fisheries and Wildlife Service can do for refuges in terms of doing them administratively. And your answer was no, they can't do that administratively. Has there been a request by the departments to be able to do the same thing that the Fisheries and Wildlife Service can do with refuges?
I don't know, but not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So what is unique? Why is it that there is this very small carved out ability to go out and create these refuges, some, well, I think as large as 1 million acres in aggregation, and yet in many cases these other services, departments, sub-departments, parts of fisheries and wildlife don't have any ability to do that, and perhaps have never even asked for the ability to do that. What is so unique that we must continue with that practice and not do it in other places?
The nature of the Fish and Wildlife Service mission is different. Wildlife conservation is...
I'm sorry, I just can't hear you. Can you get a little... You can pull it closer to you if you like.
The Fish and Wildlife Service mission is different than the other bureaus. Wildlife conservation is a different line of work. Sometimes threats can occur quickly. For example, in the prairies now, with corn at $8 a bushel, we're seeing really fast transformation of the landscape, and so these things can happen much more quickly in the wildlife conservation business, and so we find that the ability to respond to environmental crises to conserve wildlife habitat.
Wouldn't this be true of the Park Service as well?
Well, their mission is really more to protect the scenic and cultural and historic treasures of our nation, and
but can it also equally be under immediate threat, just as you point out, for lands that would otherwise go to the refuges?
Well, I think when we're talking about wildlife conservation, we're the agency that would be moving quickly to try and protect wildlife from that. The national parks and forests do protect wildlife, but they don't acquire lands for that specific mission. Okay,
but your mission is to buy land. You're not out directly protecting wildlife. You're actually acquiring land, and we would argue oftentimes in doing so without the money to back it up. In other words, you buy the land and then nothing's done and there is no protection of wildlife. So again, it's not clear to me how you need this one authority that nobody else has for a purpose that's really very common in other areas. To me, it seems to be an exceptional ability to do something that others can't do and haven't even asked to do.
Again, I think that we have found it's served us well over the year in being able to conserve fish and wildlife. We struggle with the same thing you do, Mr. Chairman, and we appreciate your oversight, this balance between, being aggressive in protecting habitat for wildlife and the fiscal constraints we're under, and we share those same balancing acts.
Okay. All right. I thank you, and